P-E-A-C-E. It spells peace. Positive energy always causes elevation. This is something created by Greer Tony and promoter Keri Singleton to provide an opportunity for local youth to be both entertained and positively influenced by recording artists. Mr. Singleton, who was born and raised right here in Roxbury, set his sights early on, following the footsteps of music industry idol Russell Simmons. Having lost his father to gun violence the day before Father's Day in 1996, Mr. Singleton knows firsthand the pain of being a victim of that violence that plagues the inner cities nationwide. He's been a speaker at youth rallies in Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, and Baltimore, and co-founded Peace Night at Chez Vous in 2008.
Yeah, I'll never forget that day. June 15th, 1996 was a Saturday. It was the day before Father's Day. And that's the day, in the early morning hours of that day, that I found out that my father had been shot. And initially, I didn't necessarily know that he was fatally injured. It wasn't until I called the hospital, and they told my mom, actually, that he didn't make it. Sometime after that, I remember my aunt, my dad's sister, Tish, she came over to my house and decided that she and I were to go to the crime scene where my father was shot in the Grove Hall section of Roxbury and get some answers from the people who lived in the house where the shooting took place. My father was shot on the porch that Saturday morning in 1996, and it turned out it was a crack house. The owners of the house, the husband and wife, were crack addicts, and I remember it being dirty, yeah, just filthy. I mean, of course, I'd never been in a crack house before, and I'd only seen, environments like that on movies, so I didn't know what to expect. I just remember seeing young children running all over the house, seemingly unattended, ill-dressed, ill-fed, and it was just surreal. My aunt was talking to the couple. They were both extraordinarily intoxicated, to say the least. But what I could make out was the consistent lying. There was a lot of misinformation coming out of their mouths, and the stories weren't matching up, whatever. Finally, I got to the point where the smell and of the house and everything that I was seeing was it was overwhelming. And I asked my aunt, I said, you can finish this conversation with these people. They're clearly not telling the truth. I don't know what we expect to get out of them, or whatever I was saying. And I decided, I said, I'm going to step outside, and I may just wait in the car for you, Tish. And when you're finished and you're wrapped up with this interrogation, we can go. And I stepped out onto their porch, looked up at the sun. Seemed like it was so brilliant that morning. And then I felt my foot slip on some weird substance. And then I looked down and I realized that I was standing in a puddle of my father's blood. And it was that point that I knew for sure, because up until that point, we hadn't identified the body or anything. But it was at that point that I knew that on that June 15th, 1996, the day before Father's Day, that the next day, for the first time in my life, I'd be without a father.
I want you to take this moment to travel back in time to where something shifted and changed in your life. I want you to get all of those feelings, feel them.
Yes, I do.
All right. Take me there.
I decided to pick the moment that I became a man, which was when I moved to New York City.
Okay.
in 1996, following my father's death in September of 1996. I decided, for a variety of reasons, not just because of my father's death, that it was just time for me to leave the nest. And instead of, most people leave home, they move around the corner or move down the street or something. I moved from Boston, Massachusetts to Bushwick, Brooklyn.
Okay. How did you feel when you moved? What was that feeling that you had?
I definitely felt like it was my emancipation. I had wanted to leave Boston long before 1996, years, maybe even a decade before 1996. I was 24 years old. Again, my father had been killed that summer, and there were a lot of other incidents that happened before and after that year. And I just felt like it was time, especially since my father's murder was unsolved and still is. And so growing up in a city that's pretty small, I didn't know who killed my father, and that person could have been walking a block away from me or passing me by on a subway. So I felt, for a variety of reasons, that it was time for me to leave.
So now we are in your first apartment after everything has transpired.
Well, it was a room.
A room.
Yeah.
And the world is asleep and you are up. And you have all these thoughts going through your head. Describe that to me. Your very first night as a man, as you stated, in your own place without your dad.
So I moved to Brooklyn with my best friend. We moved there together from Boston. So it was a room that I shared with him, a very cold, uncomfortable situation, to say the least. No TV, no radio, nothing. We were living like savages. But I was in my own space. I was in Brooklyn as opposed to being in Boston. So I was wrestling with a lot of different emotions, missing mom, missing my family in Boston, but also the newness of it all. I wasn't unfamiliar with New York City at all, but I was definitely a new resident, and that was very different.
With you being a new resident, as a fatherless son, how did that make you feel in that moment?
Very angry, very angry. Very shortly after I moved to New York City, I was blessed to move to New York with a job. I was working with a record company, Palm Tree Records. We promoted artists like Little Vicious, a lot of reggae artists, Patra, Beanie Man, Buju Banton, and Shaggy. And I remember going to the office one day from Brooklyn, and my boss says, "There's something for you in the break room." And I was awarded a gold and platinum plaque from Atlantic Records for promoting Shaggy's Boombastic album, which of course, as you know, was a huge. So my very first award and my very first piece of, I guess, the first time I ever felt like I succeeded in the music business, which had been a passion of mine since the early 90s. I received this in 96 in my new home across the river. But the fact that my father, who was one of my biggest supporters, my mother was kind of like, "Keri, this is nice, but get a job. You need to get a real job." That was my mom back then. My father was like, no, he's going to be the first Russell Simmons. He's going to, the first Russell, the next Russell Simmons. He really championed behind my musical aspirations. And the fact that I got that award, as happy as I was, the fact that he wasn't here in the physical to see that made me very angry.
How did you channel that anger at that time?
Koren, I've always been into architecture. One of the things that I love about New York City, and there are many, is the ever-changing skyline. Some of my favorite buildings in the city were the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building, and of course the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center.
Yes.
Didn't have a lot of money, and that's putting it lightly, But my best friend and I would often take the subway from Bushwick down to the World Trade Center and just stand in between the towers and look up and watch them soar to the sky. One of the towers had a bigger antenna than the other, and the top of its antenna would always be illuminated, and it would blink, and it looked almost like a rocket sitting on top of the tower. I think it was the top of 4 World Trade Center. I'm not really sure. But at any rate, a lot of times that's what I would do. I didn't have a lot of money. So he and I, my best friend and I, would just go there, look at the towers. And for us, it symbolized rebirth. The rise of these 2 110-story buildings symbolized opportunity. And frankly, we looked at it as a direct message that the sky's the limit.
In that moment, I want you to close your eyes. Think of you holding that award. You are staring up at the sky's the limit. And I want you to tell your dad exactly how you feel.
You missed a lot. You missed a lot, Dad. In the past 29 years since your life was taken, my brother, your younger son, is about to open his 3rd dispensary in Boston. He's got a beautiful girlfriend, makes a lot of money, smokes a lot of weed, but he's very happy and he's very successful. As for myself, you would have been proud of me as well. You would have been proud of not only the things that I've done, the places that I've been, but I think moreover you would be proud of the person that I've become and the people that I've surrounded myself with, who are great, and I feel they are a reflection of the love that I give to other people. But you missed a lot, and I think that if you were here, you would be extraordinarily proud of both of your sons.
All right, close your eyes. I want you to feel as if you are receiving the hug that you missed for those 29 years. Hold on to it. Now I want you to open your eyes and look at now. And let me know how that has shaped you into the man that you are today, and all of the things that you have done for others that I can assume is in memory of your dad.
I actually felt that hug. I felt that hug in the same way that I can feel myself rubbing my hands together.
How did that make you feel?
Relieved.
Good.
Relieved.
Because you needed it.
I did.
That 22-year-old needed it.
Yeah. Well, 24.
24,
when
I'm sorry.
my father died. Yeah, I was 22 when my grandmother died 2 years before that. That 24-year-old missed that hug. My mom did a phenomenal job. My mom had raised me, you know. But fortunately, after my parents separated when I was about 6 years old or so, they remained best friends. So it was my mother who actually handled all of his funeral services. And I remember saying at his funeral when I spoke at the podium, something to the effect of, I'm in so much pain right now because he was a good dad. He wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but he was a good father. He loved his sons. And it just seemed so unfair to me at the time that he should lose his life in such a violent way, and that despite all of the people that he did love up in Boston, which was also his hometown, nobody seemed to...
Life moved on, basically.
Yeah, nobody seemed to help when it came to nobody helped with the arrest. Nobody knew anything. The streets closed their mouths, and I felt that was kind of cold because my father was so much the opposite. You know, he loved, he did his dirt. You know, he was into the streets, but he never shot anybody, he never stabbed anybody, and he loved with his whole heart. And the fact that that wasn't reciprocated when it was time for us to find out who took him.
Felt incomplete.
Yeah, and quite bitter at my hometown. I've held on to a bitterness towards the city of Boston for a very long time.
All right. I want you right now to take that bitterness and that pain, and I want you to start formulating a plan for purpose. So what we're going to do, because this is condensed and there's a lot more that needs to be done, we are going to put together something where, because will this year be the 30th year or the
29th
this
year.
will be the 29th year,
Yeah.
where I want you to do something in remembrance of your dad
Okay.
from that place of purpose. Okay? I want you to think about what it is that you're going to do. I want you to sit in it, write it out, rally your village to support you with it. If you need me, you know where to find me as well.
Thank you.
But in the midst of time, I want you to reground yourself. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. And as you inhale purpose, you're going to exhale your pain out. So inhale purpose, exhale pain. Inhale purpose, feel that embrace as the pain exits out your body. Despite life tribulations, I want you to tell me one thing that you are grateful for in this moment.
Life. My life.
And I want you to continue to be grateful for that life and live it knowing that your dad is proud. He has helped you to where you are today. And I want you to understand that and know that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Very few things in life are universal. Grief is definitely one of them. I mean, if you think about it, grief is not a destination, it's a journey. Unfortunately, like all things in life, it's a part of our journey. The trick is, I guess, to just embrace the totality of this journey, this thing that we all call life, through ups and downs, good and bad, pain and pleasure.